rusted up piece of junk. It had been a whaling vessel, and they were chipping the rust off of it. And up on the bow, I remember they had we called a tub. Way up on the bow was a railing about 2-3 feet high, where the harpoon gun had been mounted. Well, they'd removed the harpoon gun and they put a 4-inch, 4.5 gun up there, which had been a World War I artillery piece. And then on the upper deck behind the stack, they put a pom-pom, which turned out to be a piece of junk. It was one of those 4 or 6 barreled guns. And on the rear end, they put in a 3-inch 75, an American gun. That was a good gun. Anyhow, they got this all put together. And we went to sea. I think we had 34, 35 men. Our complement was supposed to be 35 or 75, but we didn't have them. So we went from there. We went up to London, up through the Irish Sea and up to Londonderry, Ireland. And then we spent some time chasing our subs, our own submarines. With the underwater sound gear, we're trying to locate them for practice. And one day we were there, and it was rough. It was rough as hell. I was seasick. The captain, everybody was seasick. And before the sub comes up, they shoot us up a smoke bomb so we wouldn't accidentally hit it. Well, we couldn't find the thing. And finally the captain said, look way over on the horizon, they said there's smoke. And we had this 17-year-old kid was up in the crow's nest. We didn't have phones at that time. We had voice tubes. Captain hard up the tube and says, hey, Stephen, did you see that smoke on the horizon? Stephen said, yeah, I see it, Captain. He said, well, what do you think it is? He said, I don't know, Captain, but I bet you ain't no choo-choo train. After we got done that train, we came back to the States. We ran free. We ran by ourselves back to pick up a convoy. We went down to the Caribbean and picked up the convoy. And we stopped in Staten Island first to get the rest of the crew. We were still in training. We went down to the Caribbean and we picked up a convoy. It was escorting them up along the coast. I was sitting on a bridge one day, the captain and me. The helmsman was down below. This was an open bridge. There wasn't no closure on it. So the captain, all of a sudden it started raining on our head, and we looked up. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. Stevens was in the crow's nest as usual, had to relieve himself. He pissed on our head. I tell you, the kid was absolutely incompetent. When we got back to the States, we went to Staten Island. The captain called his father to come down. His father was an engineer or something. Came down, and we gave him an inaptitude discharge right on the spot. It wasn't just honorable, it was just inaptitude. Father said he didn't know the kid was in the Navy. Well, we didn't want him in the Navy. We got rid of him.
But anyway, you ended up picking up one of these convoys to Murmansk at some point here.
Oh, we picked up a lot of them. I made 9 trips up there. We didn't go into I only went into Murmansk to the dock once. But we picked up the convoys, and then we go up to Iceland and over to Ireland, and then straight north. But after he got up in the Barents Sea, the Russians escorts picked him up, and we turned around and came back home.
Well, how many ships were you losing? I mean, it was not a safe trip. Were you on some of the first ones?
I was June 19th, 1942, convoy PQ-17. You ever heard of that one? We left, I think it was Reykjavik, Halvorsfjord or Reykjavik, Iceland, with 36 ships, and 2 of them had to turn back for engine troubles or something. So we had 34 ships. When we went over North Island, we turned straight north, off for the Barents Sea. When we got up into the Barents Sea, the British Admiralty, up until this time, up until after this convoy, all convoys were under American jurisdiction. Before that, the British were running them. We turned north. We got up into the Barents Sea, and the Turpus, and I think it's the Prince Eugene in Norway, were changing berths. The British Admiral Lord Dudley Pound somehow got word of it, and he thought they were putting to sea. Well, they wanted to get the Tirpitz, so he pulled all his ships back, and he left the Tempest, one I was on, the Fury, which was another converted fishing boat, and I think that woman's name, a converted yacht. I forget what the name of it was. Left to escort these ships. Then Dudley Pond gave orders to scatter the convoy, which was the worst thing in the world. The British commanders were all against it. They wanted to concentrate, bring them up together so we could protect them. They scattered all over the ocean. We couldn't do a darn thing with them. We lost 15 out of the 17. One of them, the crew deserted. I've got the name of it there, and refused to go any farther. The Germans boarded it. The Germans from the submarine board. They were going to stay within the German. They couldn't run it, so they torpedoed it. That left us with one ship. We got it into Murmansk, and when we tied up the dock at Murmansk, there was a big fat Russian woman walking back and forth to the gangway with a machine gun. They wouldn't let us off. And we want to know why, and they said, well, so the Russians couldn't come aboard, but they didn't want us around there. After that, we ran free all the way home. I've got the name of every ship sunk, the time it was sunk, and the German submarine number that sank it.
Only one ship out of 17 made it.
No, there was 8. They split the convoy. We had 17, and the others had some ships go in.
Out of your 17, only one actually.
Well, we only got one in there, yeah. Well, we took a hell of a beating. The first day when they attacked us, 8 German bombers were shot down. But the next day when they attacked, they came with the submarines and the bombers, and then they just wiped them out. They weren't after us. They were after the merchant ships.
Well, sure.
And we weren't after the Germans. We were trying to keep the darn subs away from them. Every time we get a sound, we'd go and drop bombs and depth charges and then keep going. We didn't stop to get into a fight. And I don't think we were wasting a torpedo on.
So you were enjoying that duty.
Oh, yeah. Coming back from one trip from Murmansk, I'll never forget it. It was heavy fog, and I was the navigator. And I was coming in. We were going to come into New York Harbor, and there's a sea buoy about 80 miles offshore, and coming into the fog, we almost rammed the buoy. The captain said, "Boy, great navigation, Duvall. Navigation to hell, it's an accident." On that fishing boat, or corvette, whatever you want to call the thing, we had a contraption, I would call it, on the bridge. This was a real brainer. It was about 38 feet across the bridge. On each side of the bridge, they had a projector for a rocket. Hooked into each rocket, up in the clothesline, was about 250 pounds of clothesline wire. And they had a pin in each one. And when the plane was coming in, you're supposed to pull these pins, and it's going to fire it up, and they're going to tangle up the propeller or something. Nobody ever said to us what's going to happen if they don't pull them both at the same time. Well, we got rid of that thing when we got back to New York.
Tangle up. What a contraption to take down an airplane.
We would have had 250 pounds of clothes.
Throw a clothesline up in the air. I like that.
Well, we had a 2-pounder pom-pom. I don't know, 6
That's
barrels.
what you call an advanced military.
You ever see one of those pom-poms working?
Yeah.